Hey world, it's being when to come back with another video out here in H-Town. Uh, I got a little strawberry on my cheek. My reflex is not as quick as they used to be. You know what I mean? Got these big old hands, and I told my son, "Hey, toss daddy the pen," right? He tossed me the pen, and I put the big hands up, and it went right through, and bam, hit me right in the eye. So I got a little strawberry right there. But I digress. Family, thank you for joining me tonight, today, this morning, afternoon. It's all good because every time I have you guys watching me, I'm very humble, and it's really a great feeling because, like you say, time is your most valuable asset, and the fact that you guys are sharing your time with me is very humbling. Okay, I wanted to come back with this video today because, like I said, I'm in H-Town, Texas, and this is Juneteenth, all right? And I'm somewhat ambivalent about it because, like I said, as a youngster, we didn't really quite understand what the celebration was about. And so, like I said, we've been having this celebration for years as a kid. Big celebrations at the park. I mean, you go anywhere in Texas, normally there's a big celebration, a big emancipation celebration at the park, most cities. And as youngsters, we really don't really quite understand it, or what the holiday is about. You did? But as a history teacher, you find out, and then it's kind of disheartening, to say the least. Because, like I say, April 15, 1865 is when they abolished slavery. 1865, April 15th, right? Well, if you know anything about chronology, Texas, quote-unquote, slaves were not freed for 2 months after that. It was 2 months later. And when you do the research and whatnot, they say because of communication and whatnot, it took them a while to get the news. Come on, man, 2 months. All right? And so that's a celebration here in Texas. That's why, you get a lot of people coming to Texas, they're not even familiar with Juneteenth because it's not something that's celebrated nationwide, And I tell you, to me, it's a slap in the face. And actually, today, I would love to see how many individuals that are associated with the ADOS community are basically, politicking for reparations. If any day, this should be the day, right? The only reason I say that, family, because so many times, we want to be like, ashamed to say stuff, embarrassed. You dig? Are you serious? When you know the history and when you know the research and when you know the economics of the United States, and you know that there are groups of people in this country that receive quasi-reparations because of what the government did to them, i.e. the Japanese during World War II, when all those Japanese Americans were held in internment camps in California. Okay? And so they received reparations in some form or fashion. The Native Americans, of course, was designated, and I hate to even consider what they gave the Native Americans reparations, because if you know anything about the Trail of Tears, how is that reparations? To march groups of people to a certain location in America and tell them this is where you have to stay. And then years and years after that, okay, well, your people will receive some benefits for what we did to your ancestors. Okay? Then, of course, how can you forget about what happened in the 1940s with the Jews in World War II? And, of course, to this day, United States, they actually get billions of dollars every year from the United States. And when the world recognizes a group of people that were, I guess what they would call it, part of a Holocaust and massacred and all the horrendous things that happened to them that they show us on the television, they not only deserve reparation, but they deserve to be actually God's people and get their own land. Think about that for a minute, people. You have a group of people that were quote unquote, and I'm not saying this. This is in the books that they've written. Say that we was enslaved for 400 years, 300 years by the same government that's still today. And no reparations, because remember, guys, back in, I think it's 2009, United States recognized or actually apologized for slavery. And so that's what I'm saying. So some of you people that are part of the ADOS community, I hope we're doing our research, because if the government recognizes and apologizes for slavery, well, there was a group of people that were enslaved. Are those people still in America? And if so, what does an apology do without action? All right. And so, like I said, we're just talking about, I mean, this is transparent information, family. So we happy to be celebrating on Juneteenth, eating barbecue, and it's one of the hottest months of the year in Texas. So we outside celebrating the fact that we're no longer slaves, which was 2 months later than every other state. Okay. So I just think it's kind of disingenuous. ADOS, like I said, I would love to see what the objectives are. And if you don't know what ADOS is African Descendants of Slavery. And now I pose the question, what part of Africa are you representing? Because I tell you, it's one or two things. It's a lie, or something is being hidden. How can you tell me that you know exactly what type of dinosaurs that were roaming this land millions of years ago? You can tell me about the Kemetic people, the Egyptians, back in 2000 BC. You can tell me about the Romans and the Greeks before the BC era. We go back even further, and you can tell us that a guy named, I think his name, Stitchin, he actually was supposed to be the one European white guy that had translated the Sumerian tablets, which was from the land of Sumer, which was supposed to be before the Egyptians. We know their language, we know their customs, their culture, thousands of years before BC. Thousands of years BC, right? But no one can tell us where these African American, Western, Afro-melanated people come from. What country, what language did we speak? What clothes did we wear? What God did we worship? Are you serious? But we know that the Moors, who ran Spain for 200 years, right? Who had slaves in Spain. But like I say, the slavery system back there was different from the slavery system that they project or say happened here. It was a 7-year term. After that, you can work your way out of slavery. And the Moors ran Spain. The Moors got ran out of Spain in the 1400s. That's why do you think Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand was able to hire Christopher Columbus, allegedly, to go find land to build up Spain, because they were broke. Because the Moors ran it for 200 years. The language, Spanish, Latin, all that language. Find out the origin of the language, right? It's not an accident those in Spain still worship the Black Madonna, okay? Who are we? Quit celebrating these frivolous holidays and ask the real questions. Why do I look like this? And so-called Africans look like that? Where do I come from? Before the 1800s, before the 1700s, before the 1600s. You have to know, if you know about the dinosaurs, if you know about the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians and the Kemetic people and the Sumerians and the Aztecs and the Olmecs. Where do we come from? Western Afro-American people. Okay? So family, while you're celebrating today for Juneteenth, make sure you ask yourself those questions. All right? And thank you for subscribing and liking my channel. I really appreciate it. And in the meantime, between time, may the Most High Society bring you joy. And being with us out of 5,000.